Welcome. You're listening to ALPS in Brief, the podcast that comes to you from the historic Florence Building in beautiful downtown Missoula, Montana. I'm Mark Bassingthwaighte. I'm the risk manager here at ALPS, and today I'm going to return to the storytelling format. I have two stories that I'd like to share that I think have some real value, hopefully, to at least some of you. A number of years ago, I received a phone call from a solo attorney, and it was a very interesting conversation. You could tell at the outset that the attorney was, for lack of a better word, troubled. And in short, he was calling to let me know that he was about to commit malpractice. And that kind of struck me as odd a little bit. Wait, the malpractice hasn't happened yet. You're telling me and you just kind of listen. And what I learned was that he had reached a point in his career where he simply could not do anything else. He could make no more decisions. Just nothing left. And he had a statute of limitations date that was about to run and was calling to let me know that he was going to walk out of his office and quit and never return, and just was giving us a heads up. Now, thankfully, we were able to, we can't send somebody out and take care of this, but we were able to work with a local bar and have that matter addressed. But this gentleman actually did, shortly after hanging up the phone with me, walk out of the office, never return. He was done. And I can share, I've heard that story or situations like this, I should say, more than one or two times in my 22 years here at ALPS. This does happen from time to time. Now, a second story that I would like to share has to do with a small firm. And in this situation, we learned through a number of claims, and I will fill you in a moment on that. But what basically happened, one of the lawyers really reached a point similar to the attorney in the first story. He just got to a point where he too could not make any more decisions. Now, he didn't walk out. He didn't walk away, but he was unable to practice anymore. He enjoyed coming into the firm every day, was very interactive and polite, enjoyed visiting with staff, having his cup of coffee in the morning and visiting with attorneys and just, his normal self, or so it appeared. Unfortunately, as he was bringing in new clients, and surprisingly, he still was bringing in a few clients. He was hiding files. Some were in the trunk of his car, some were under the carpet, some were behind, furniture in the office. He just couldn't make any more decisions, and he didn't know what else to do. Now, in that situation, I said we did have some claims arise out of that, and actually the number of claims went into the double digits as a result of this, and it's a small, my memory is, I think, a 4 or 5 lawyer firm. Why do I want to talk about these stories or share these stories? Wellness is, as I'm sure most, if not all of you are well aware, is a significant topic in the bar today. There's an emphasis on well-being, and I fully support it. But I want to share how failing to address the health issues that can arise can lead to very, very significant outcomes. And we really do need to take the topic seriously. Now, impairments we can broadly define. Today I'm kind of focusing a bit here on depression, but there are all kinds of impairments from burnout, stress, overwork, alcoholism, chemical dependency, gambling addictions. The list goes on. But let me just share a couple of comments based on these two stories and place it in the context of wellness and well-being. In the first situation, we have a solo attorney here, obviously, but I want to underscore, if you see someone who is feeling, or I should say, demonstrating some signs of depression, reach out to them. And if you are someone dealing with depression, please do not just sit and ignore the problem. And I do understand that, we don't want to be labeled as being weak or something like that. And I just think that's not the experience of most people that reach out and try to deal with becoming healthy again and try to work through the problem, deal with the depression. But please understand, thinking about the fallout in the second story, depression, we have fatigue, feeling worthless, helpless, all those kinds of things, sort of the normal stuff that people feel. But in some, it's not uncommon. Depression can lead to impaired concentration. It absolutely can lead to indecisiveness, a loss of interest and pleasure in activities formerly enjoyed, such as practicing law. Insomnia is often there, and all of this, it adds up to poor judgment. So failing to address, even if you're a solo and isolated from others, can have some significant consequences, not only for you, but for your clients. So I encourage you to reach out, find a friend, a loved one, some support system. Heck, if you need to, call me, and I'm here for you. We need to try to find a way to move forward for your best interest and the interest of your clients. In terms of the second story, I just want to share another sad reality of what happened here. And fortunately, I think it's not extremely common, but I can say this was not by any means the first time I've ever come across a situation like this. I shared that a number of claims came up as a result of the attorney's depression. And the firm's response was one of, "ALPS, why are you penalizing us? As soon as we found out about the depression, got rid of the problem lawyer, and the rest of us did nothing wrong. Why are we being punished in terms of the fallout of these claims? Obviously, deductibles are in play, defense, losses, the normal things that happen in malpractice claims were in play here." And that struck me. I did share in many situations, trying to deal with depression is something that is not shameful. And many times people will step up and are supportive. But occasionally that doesn't happen. And I understand the conundrum there. And I don't have the answer. But I do want to say, if any of you are ever find yourselves in a situation where you're dealing with a staff person or a fellow colleague who is depressed, the choice to say it's not our fault is absolutely the wrong choice. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of the individual going through the difficult time. Is this how you would want to be treated? And please understand, when you form a firm, thinking about our ethical rules, 5.1, responsibilities of supervisory lawyers, managing partners, that rule. It's what I call the partners keepers rule. We are our partners keepers. We sink or swim together. And honestly, that's the way it should be. So I encourage you, again, impairments are a significant source in terms of the underlying true cause of malpractice claims. They really are. The industry doesn't track it. We'll sit here and say, okay, we track the date got blown, whatever it might be. It's the what happened. We don't track the why. I'm telling you, I've been in this business for 22 years. This is one of the major whys that a significant number of claims happen. So we need to be sensitive. Our rules do not require us to be physicians and to be able to diagnose depression or to identify someone and say, you do have a chemical addiction. That's not our role. But in the context of depression, what can you look for? What can you think about? How can you catch this early so that you don't ever find yourselves having to deal with multiple claims because depression went unrecognized, undiagnosed? You cannot bury your head in the sand. So be aware of just some of the warning signs. Depressed individuals often become isolated. They can become sarcastic or withdrawn. There may be sudden changes in behavior, such as absenteeism, loss of interest in family and friends, an increased need for sleep, the onset of insomnia, and sometimes you even see self-destructive behavior. Changes in appearance actually are also quite common. There could be a significant change in weight or a loss of interest in personal appearance. And when quite severe, obviously depression can lead to suicidal thoughts. And I will just take one brief aside and say, if someone, again, one of your peers at a firm or a staff member, if there's ever an expression of a suicidal thought, please take that very seriously and seek help immediately. Okay, particularly if there's any kind of plan expressed or they start to give away possessions, take that very, very seriously. Get help. Help them get help. Okay, but at the end, I guess my takeaway is depression really is a significant problem in our profession. I have talked with more lawyers struggling with depression than I ever thought I would before I got into this. It's not a mark of shame. It's not something that we should be shameful in terms of feeling depressed. Just please accept it for what it is. It's a human being struggling with life, going through something difficult. And that's be there. That's be the support system to try to help, to have the attorney return, if that's what he or she ultimately decides to do, to the practice and get back up and go on full steam. Or perhaps, they really have come to the point where they say, this isn't for me. and that's okay too, so we help them exit gracefully and move on to bigger and better things, whatever that might mean for them. I think, in my mind, it's one of the hallmarks, in terms of doing the kinds of things I'm talking about here, of just being professional. That's rise to the occasion and help our colleagues and help our peers and help ourselves if it's us that are struggling. There's no shame here. So those are my stories. I'm just trying to do whatever I can in whatever small ways I am able to give a little hope and to just give a message. You can get through this, and that we are our partner's keepers, even if it's a solo down the street. I mean, after all, we have a local community professional. So that's my 2 cents for today. Folks, I hope you found something of value out of my brief podcast here. And if you have any questions, concerns, want to talk about this topic a little bit more in depth, or just need a little additional information, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would be happy to help in any way that I can. You may reach me at mbass@alpsinsurance.com or call our 800 number, 800-367-2577, and ask for Mark, the risk manager. Hey, it's been a pleasure. So long.